Hello, my name is Jasmine Porter, and I will be doing a response on Who Can Tell My Story. Um, Reading the story was very interesting to me because I don't think that a lot of people think about this question a lot. Like I've never thought about it myself. But if someone were to ask me, someone of another race were to ask me, could they tell my story? I don't think that I would be able to let them tell my story, my personal story. It just seems so. I don't know. I think the question would take me aback because how can you tell someone else's story, like, and let alone a whole race's story? It's almost impossible. I feel like that someone else could try to tell the story about an African American when they haven't, when they, for one, aren't African American and they haven't experienced probably half of the things that that person has experienced. So I just the question alone is just so shocking to me. Like why why would someone want to tell someone else's story? Would it just be because they actually would care to tell this person's story, or did they just think it would be something fun for them to write about? And that's what scares me because if you're just writing about it for fun, then I don't feel like you should be trying to tell someone's story. If you're writing for it, like for informational reasons, then I think you can, but I think you wouldn't be writing more. Uh, I think you would more be like giving your maybe opinion, but more or less just giving off research, like showing people what you have researched, because I feel like it's impossible for someone else to tell someone else's story. Um, it, it's also the story was also very interesting because it talks about when you go home and you do have those times where you what talk in black dialect, as the author says. And being an English major, I don't know if this happens to all English majors or does it just happen to me because I'm a black English major, but sometimes when people are talking to me or they ask me, what's your major? I say, I'm an English major. They go, oh, well, let me not use any slang around you, or that let me make sure all my words are proper and my grammar is straight. I I personally don't care about other people's grammar. Just because I'm an English major. I feel like people should talk how they want to talk. It's not about who you're around or who you're with. But I do know that everyone speaks differently when put in different situations. So I did kind of relate to the part about when you go home or when you go and you're talking to your friends, like everything, not everything, but most of the time, everything does change. The way you speak, your dialect, your grammar, everything changes. Like right now, I'm pretty sure this is not how I will be talking like to my friends or anything. This is how I'm talking for class. So that does hit home a little bit. Um, I've never thought it just seems a little funny that the girl thought about how it is to write about for like a white Jewish person or a white Jewish girl, but since she's a girl, she can relate to it. I mean, I guess that's okay because there is like some type of relation, but I personally don't think that I could write about another race, and I don't think that I would try. Like if I do start like writing books, I don't think that I would. I mean, there will be characters of other races, but I don't think that their character would be so in depth that I would have to like really like research and stuff about having to write about other characters like that. But as far as writing about a black male, and they were like because they're black, I don't think that people like it's like a man writing from a woman's perspective. I don't think you really think about that so much as writing about a different race. Like I'm pretty sure there are plenty of characters like Omar Tyree, I think that's his name. He wrote Fly Girl, which was about a little black girl. Um, you don't think about stuff that like that. Or Harry Potter, that's written. A white woman is writing about a little white boy. Like you don't think about stuff like that as much as you think about a person of one race writing about a person of another race. So I thought that was pretty interesting because um, people don't get so up in arms about men writing about women or women writing about men, but when it's about race, I think they do because race is a very, very touchy subject for everyone, I think, and it's always kind of hard to talk about other races because you don't want to say the wrong thing. Like if you're in a class full of black children, you don't want to say the wrong thing and offend someone. But sometimes you do just want to get your point across. But sometimes I feel like you could come off as racist, but I don't know. I mean, nobody, in situations like that, nobody means to be. But when you're doing the whole overgeneralization of everything, that's just how it happens. Um, and another thing about her writing as a Jewish, writing for a Jewish person, like she said that her partner was Jewish, and at the same time, though she's not Jewish, she has someone there who she can like look at all the time and see what she's going through as a Jewish person. So I think that that makes it a little bit different for her writing for a Jewish person rather than just choosing a Jewish person and then trying to write in a perspective. She has insight into the Jewish culture. And so I think that also changes it because I remember when we had like the first day of class when we had all the questions and one of the questions was could someone of another race tell another race's story? And personally I think it actually just depends because say you were adopted, and you grew up in an all black home but you were white, could you tell a black person's story? Um, Possibly because you grew up in those type of circumstances. If you grew up in an urban neighborhood and your parents are black and you went to an all black school, you're gonna incorporate all of those things into your lifestyle. So then I think that it would be okay for you to write a story, maybe write an urban novel, I'll say. Um, um, I think that this subject is a very, very touchy one. Um, Simply because once again, race is such a touchy issue. Um, I don't think that anyone can write a whole racist story. They may be able to write one person's story if they've been given all of that person's knowledge. But as far as writing a whole racist story, I don't think that anybody can do it. But I know it has happened because um, I remember in my 348 class, we talked about how a lot of Native Americans, um, their stories were told through white people and white people who thought that they could tell a Native American story. And that's the way a lot of people gain any information about Native Americans because there are not that many Native Americans here anymore. So the only way that people could even gain a small amount of knowledge about Native Americans was through these stories that um, white Americans were putting out. And with things like that, I feel like that's how in Native American states, I feel like that's how there are so many stereotypes about them because maybe the person who was writing one tribe story, they just lumped all Native Americans into that story. But there are so many Native Americans and so many tribes that wasn't everybody's story. And now that Native Americans are able to come out and tell their story, now we're getting a lot more insight into the Native American lifestyle. So I think that in a way, sometimes telling somebody's story can be good because it allows people of that um, race to be able to say, no, that's wrong. This is really how it goes, or this is really what we do. It allows them to come out and kind of tell the truth about what goes on in their culture and their lifestyle. So I think that as far as writing just for fun, I mean, you could do it if you really wanted to, but at least have some real solid knowledge, or perhaps just somebody that you can like consult to do stuff like, to write about like another race, because I think just up and writing about another race, I don't find that right. I can't just get up and write about Asian culture because I don't know anything about Asian culture. But I could research and then consult people and then try and give out my thoughts about it. But as far as writing about someone else's story, I don't think that you should. I wouldn't do it personally. Thank you.